You know, there are moments in life that don't look special at all. No dramatic this is it moment. But inside, they quietly change everything. At some point in your life, you'll have one of those moments with money. It won't happen on a yacht. It won't come with champagne. It might happen on a random afternoon, sitting at your desk, doing absolutely nothing exciting. You'll check your net worth, maybe out of habit, maybe out of boredom, and you'll notice something small but powerful. You crossed $100,000. And your first reaction probably won't be excitement. It'll be something closer to, huh, that's interesting. Not because you suddenly feel rich, you won't. Not because your lifestyle magically changes, it won't. No fancy car, no vacation booked, no fireworks. But something subtle shifts. For the first time, money doesn't feel like it's constantly slipping through your fingers. It feels solid, stable, like it can finally work with you instead of you chasing it nonstop. And that's what I want to talk about today. Because $100,000 isn't just a number, it's a turning point. And if you're thinking, okay, that sounds great, but I'm nowhere close, stay with me. Once you understand why net worth starts to accelerate after $100,000, getting there stops feeling mysterious. It stops feeling unattainable. It starts to feel possible, and more importantly, doable. If this is your first time here, I'm Oliver, coming to you from sunny Scottsdale, Arizona. I've spent years digging into how money really works. From investing and saving to building wealth that lasts. If you want to hit your first $100,000 faster and actually grow your net worth, hit subscribe. Let's figure it out together.
If you are done subscribing, let's get to business. So, why is $100,000 different? You've probably heard this before. The first $100,000 is the hardest. It's a line made famous by the late Charlie Munger, the longtime partner of Warren Buffett. And honestly, it sounds like one of those Instagram quotes you scroll right past. Black background, bold font, zero context. But this one is actually true, not because of mindset, not because of hustle culture, not because you wanted it badly enough. It's true because of math. Math? Yeah. And before you roll your eyes, let me break it down. Below $100,000, your money isn't really working yet. Your net worth grows almost entirely from your effort. It's more like an intern who hasn't been trained. You're doing all the heavy lifting. You're saving out of your paycheck, budgeting when it's inconvenient, investing money that doesn't feel like it's doing anything, saying no to trips and upgrades your friends are saying yes to. And your money? It contributes almost nothing. It just sits there. If you have $20,000 invested and earn 7%, that's $1,400 a year. That doesn't change your life. It barely changes your month. You invest $500, the market gives you $30, and you think, is this seriously what all this effort is for? Which is why early investing feels pointless. You're doing everything right, and it feels like nothing is happening. But at $100,000, the equation changes. At the same 7%, that's $7,000 a year, nearly $600 a month. Now your money is producing the equivalent of a car payment without asking you for more effort. And here's the critical part. That $7,000 grows, whether you work harder or not from grinding harder, not from smarter stock picks, and not from doing anything extra. That's the moment money stops being something you chase and starts being something that pushes back. So actually, $100,000 is when compounding finally becomes visible. Most people misunderstand compounding. They think it's exponential growth from day one. It isn't. Think of the snowball effect. When you're rolling a snowball, it starts small, barely picking up any snow. But once it gains enough size and momentum, that's when it really starts collecting everything in its path. Compounding is boring until it suddenly isn't. For years, returns look like noise. Then, after enough mass builds up, growth becomes noticeable. $100,000 is where compounding becomes emotionally real. You start seeing your portfolio grow during months you didn't save much, your net worth rise even when life is busy, your progress continue even when motivation dips. At this point, it's not luck. It becomes math finally overpowering friction. And here's something no one talks about. Once you hit $100,000, there's an emotional shift that kicks in. It's something people rarely mention. The biggest change after $100,000 isn't financial, it's emotional. Before $100,000, money tends to live rent-free in your head. You check your accounts too often. A red day in the market messes with your mood. A random expense, car trouble, medical bill, last-minute flight, feels personal, like one wrong move could undo everything. That feeling is exhausting. But after $100,000, something softens. Not because you stop caring, but because you finally have margin. Margin means you can make a mistake without spiraling. Market dips feel like noise, not danger. You stop reacting emotionally to every headline. Your money no longer feels fragile. And that matters, especially in America where healthcare costs show up unannounced, housing prices feel detached from reality, and no one's coming with a safety net if things go sideways. $100,000 doesn't fix everything. It doesn't remove stress. But it gives you breathing room. And when you can breathe, you think clearer. You make better decisions. You stop playing defense all the time. That's the part no spreadsheet captures. So let's talk about why most Americans never hit $100,000. A lot of people know what that kind of money can do. The freedom, the options, the peace of mind, but somehow they never get there. Why? Well, here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people don't miss $100,000 because they're bad with money. They miss it because they're distracted. Distracted by headlines, group chats, and the idea that there's some magic investment they haven't found yet. Mistake number 1. Obsessing over returns instead of behavior. I see this all the time. Someone with $8,000 invested will ask me, Oliver, what stock should I buy right now? Another person with $15,000 will say, do you think crypto's about to take off again? And meanwhile, they're only investing $200 a month, if that. Here's the reality most people don't want to hear. At that level, what you invest in barely matters. Let me give you a real-world example. Imagine two people, Chris and Veronica. Chris spends hours researching stocks. He jumps in and out of investments. Some years he gets 12%. Some years he loses money. He invests about $300 a month when he feels confident. Veronica? She doesn't care about market noise. She auto-invests $1,300 every single month into a boring index fund. Same day, same amount, no emotion. After 5 years, Veronica isn't smarter, she's just wealthier. Because below $100,000, the engine of your net worth isn't returns, it's behavior. How much you save, how consistently you invest, how long you stay in the game when it feels boring. And here's the part that really drives it home. Saving an extra $1,000 a month adds $12,000 a year to your net worth. No stock pick, no crypto run, no ETF on earth can beat that kind of certainty at the beginning. That's why the first $100,000 isn't about being clever. It's about being consistent when nobody's watching. Mistake number 2, lifestyle inflation. Wearing a nice suit. This one hits close to home. Lifestyle inflation is sneaky, almost invisible. especially here in America. You get a raise, suddenly you're thinking about upgrading your apartment. You get a bonus, a new car starts looking really nice. You level up at work, bigger TV, fancier dinners, more expensive trips, and before you know it, your net worth isn't moving. I'm not saying you shouldn't enjoy life. Far from it. I live in Scottsdale. I love a good cup of coffee, a weekend hike, and yeah, nice weather matters when you spend most of your year outside. But here's the thing I noticed watching people who actually build wealth. They delay the upgrades. Not forever, not out of misery. They wait until their assets are paying for it. Once their investments, rental properties, or side businesses are covering lifestyle costs, they level up. And that's where the magic happens. That delay, the patient, quiet waiting, is what separates people who look wealthy but aren't from people who actually build lasting wealth. It's not sexy, it's not flashy, but it works. Mistake number 3, waiting to feel ready. Let me be real with you. Nobody ever feels ready. When I first started my journey toward building real wealth, I felt unsure. I felt behind, like I should have started 10 years ago, and somehow everyone else had a head start I didn't even know about. And I know I'm not the only one who's felt that way. Think about it. How many times have you wanted to start something, investing, a side hustle, learning a new skill, and you waited because you didn't feel ready? That's what keeps most people stuck. But here's the kicker. Progress doesn't require confidence. It requires systems. Set up a routine. Automate your savings. Invest a fixed amount every month. Do the small, boring actions consistently. Confidence comes later. It comes from seeing results, from showing up again and again, even when you don't feel like it. And that's how ordinary people start building extraordinary wealth, not by waiting for the perfect moment, but by starting anyway. On the way to your first $100,000, there's another challenge most don't warn you about: the people around you. You're not just fighting numbers, you're fighting people, not strangers, the people closest to you, friends, family, even coworkers. And most of the time, it's not even malicious. It shows up as concern. Why are you working so hard? You need to enjoy life more. Money isn't everything. You're doing too much. The funny thing? This advice usually comes from people who have no money. Here's the truth. When you commit to delayed gratification, your discipline becomes a mirror. A mirror that shows others what they aren't doing, and most people don't like seeing that. So yes, you're not just fighting math. You're navigating expectations, opinions, and discomfort. If you can avoid the distractions I mentioned and keep your focus, you'll be surprised at how quickly that first $100,000 comes. And here's the part I love telling people. The second $100,000 usually comes faster than the first. Why? Because by the time you hit $100,000, a few things have already shifted. You're earning more, maybe a raise, a promotion, or side hustle income that actually sticks. You're saving more. The habit is built, and it feels natural, not painful. Your money is compounding. Every month, your investments are quietly working in the background. Your emotions are steadier. Market dips don't make you panic. Spending decisions feel less reactive, more intentional. And you've already proven you can do hard things. You've built a system, stuck to it, and seen results. Here's a real example. When I crossed that first $100,000, I remember feeling a little lighter. Not rich, but stable. My small, consistent investments suddenly felt like a machine that worked without me. By the time I hit $120,000, I realized that adding another $10,000 to $20,000 didn't feel like climbing a mountain anymore. It felt like rolling downhill with momentum. Momentum is addictive.
in the best way. Once you've experienced it, you want more. You start making smarter decisions because you can see the payoff in real time. And here's the secret most people miss. That momentum compounds faster than any investment return. The first $100,000 is hard. The next $100,000 feels like magic.
Look, don't get it twisted. You can mess up your momentum. I want you to hear this before you even hit $100,000, because the second you do, it's super tempting to do something flashy, and before you know it, all that progress, gone. You might chase the latest hype, that hot stock everyone's talking about. Overtrade, thinking more activity equals faster growth. Inflate your lifestyle too quickly. New apartment, new car, fancy vacations, forgetting all the habits that got you here. I've seen it happen. Friends hit $120,000 or $150,000 and suddenly feel like they earned the right to spend wildly. Fast cars, designer bags, expensive dinners. And the funny thing? Their net worth barely moves. Here's the key. Stay boring. Keep your habits consistent. Keep investing the same way. Keep your spending intentional. Boring wins. Seriously, it's the quiet, steady actions that compound into real freedom. The flashy moves? They just distract you from what actually works. Momentum isn't a fluke. It's built by patience, discipline, and showing up, even when it's not exciting. So once you've got your first $100,000, protect it, respect it, let it do the work. Boring wins. Always. Let me leave you with this. $100,000 isn't about flexing. It's not about showing off or proving anything to anyone. It's about control. Control over your decisions. Control over your time. Control over your future. If you're younger, $100,000 buys options. The freedom to take a job that excites you, start a side hustle, or take that leap without panicking. If you're older, it buys peace, knowing you're not constantly one unexpected bill away from stress. And if you're somewhere in between, it buys confidence. Not loud confidence, not the kind that needs to be seen on Instagram. Quiet confidence, the kind that lets you sleep better at night, sip your coffee in peace, and not feel frantic every time the market moves. For me, crossing that first $100,000 wasn't fireworks. It was calm. It was subtle. But it changed everything. If this conversation helped you see money differently, hit subscribe. I'm Oliver, talking money, life, and long-term thinking from Scottsdale, Arizona. And I'll see you in the next one.